When it comes to starting up a creative project, the hardest part is trying to get your concept or idea into something tangible. Even something as simple as this video that you're watching right now took weeks of planning and writing before I even pressed the record button. So, how do our favorite animes become the shows we all enjoy? Most anime series are adapted from other source materials, the three most common being light novels, manga, and video games. These intellectual properties usually have their own followings that lead to the anticipation of a new series before they could even screen a preview. But what about the anime original shows that are created by the studios themselves? How do anime original series get their big break? Hello everyone, I'm KanaManga, and this is an Aperture on Anime. In this series, we'll be taking a look at our favorite anime series through the lens of the film industry. In traditional film and television settings, aspiring directors will create short films in order to get their concept off the script and onto the screen. Most of these projects are shot on a very small budget and are showcased around in film festivals in hopes that producers or studios would be willing to finance a feature-length film or to help them start a series. These pilot episodes become the start of what can be an excellent series or first-time movie, and help launch the careers of both the actors and the directors into the film industry. Some examples of these include series such as Breaking Bad and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and movies such as Whiplash and Napoleon Dynamite. Similarly to this, ambitious mangaka will draft self-contained stories called one-shots. These one-shots are independent stories that are contained in a single chapter of what could potentially be a full-length manga series. These one-shots usually are submitted to competitions that are judged by other famous mangaka or a panel from the publishing company that runs the competition. Along with monetary prizing, the winners of these competitions usually get their series in the publication or get assigned an editor to help them start a new one. Some examples of successful one-shots are Nayuta of the Prophecy by Tatsuki Fujimoto, Over Hunter x Hunter by Kiyoharu Gotoge, and Gokurakugai by Yuto Sano. After reading and learning about the process for both filmmaking and manga, I started to wonder if this also applies to anime original series as well. Is there a process for aspiring animators to get their projects in front of studios to eventually get their own series? And if so, do anime originals have pilot episodes? In order to answer this question, we have to turn the clock back to the year 2010. In order to train and recruit new animators into the anime industry, the Japanese government's Agency for Cultural Affairs started a program called the Young Animators Training Project. With a budget of 214.5 million yen, or 2.27 million USD, split between 4 different studios, the government would help pay for training and experience from these studios to create short animation projects. Although the program was slow to garner any successful short films initially, it wasn't until 2012 where 2 of the 4 studios produced shorts that eventually got greenlit to become larger series. One of those shorts came from a titan of the industry at the time, Studio Madhouse, known for animating series such as Death Note, Nana, and Hunter x Hunter, as well as movies such as Redline, Paprika, and Summer Wars. But under the Young Animators Training Project, they created Deathbilliards in 2012. In Deathbilliards, an elderly man and a young office worker are transported to a mysterious bar called the Quindecium. After settling in with a drink and a smoke, the silver-haired bartender outlines that they will have to play a randomly selected game with their lives on the line. The 2 men object at first, but after realizing their only way out is to participate, the old man decides to spin the roulette. After landing on billiards as the game of choice, the 2 players face off in a game of life and death. This 24-minute short showcases why Madhouse was at the top of the anime industry. It had a gripping and suspenseful plot, eye-catching characters and background designs, and creative frame compositions that enhanced the story. It was such a great launching platform for the director of the project, Yuzuru Tachikawa, who had previously worked on projects such as Steins Gate and Chihaya Furu. A few years later, in 2015, Tachikawa would eventually expand Deathbilliards into the series we now know as Deathparade, which dives deeper into the story of the bartender and the guests who visit. The 12-episode series is considered a favorite among the anime community, as a great psychological thriller drama, with one of the most catchy and misleading openings that will lure you in for a wild ride. Although Madhouse may have been a dominant force in the anime industry, it didn't stop a young, tenacious studio from breaking through during the same year. Studio Trigger began their career with funding from the Young Animators Training Project, and created its first animated short called Littlewitchacademia. Littlewitchacademia follows a young witch named Akko. After being inspired as a child by a performer named Shiny Chariot, she decides to enroll in an academy to learn the ways of magic. Although she doesn't come from a magical family like most of the other students, Akko, with support from her roommates Lottie and Susie, strives to be the best witch that she can be. Even though the short was as long as an average anime episode, there was a lot of stakes riding on this short, especially for Studio Trigger. I won't dive into the full history of Studio Trigger because honestly it could be an entirely whole video on its own for the future, but this was the first animation to come out of Studio Trigger since breaking off of Gainax, which was known for Fooly Cooly, Gurren Lagann, and Neon Genesis Evangelion. Littlewitchacademia shows off the unique style that Studio Trigger would build their identity off of. Elements including vibrant colors, expressive character design, and breaking character models for the sake of storytelling, comedy, or impact. Not only did the success of Littlewitchacademia lead to a follow-up movie in 2015 and a 25-episode series in 2017, it launched Studio Trigger to create a bunch of anime original titles, such as Kill la Kill, SSSS Gridman, and Darling in the Franxx. The studio kept making anime originals until recently, where they made Cyberpunk Edgerunners in 2022 and Delicious in Dungeon in 2024. Although the Young Animators Training Project has gone through many studios, name changes, and talent since its start in 2010, they haven't been able to recreate the success of Deathbilliards and Littlewitchacademia, which was over a decade ago. This wasn't the only opportunity during the history of anime where directors and animators would have the ability to showcase their talents. Hideaki Anno, the creator and director of Neon Genesis Evangelion, introduced a collaboration event in 2014 called the Japan Animator Expo. This major collaboration between Studio Karma Dwango and various other studios helped showcase some of the new talent in the anime industry. The Japan Animator Expo was a series of 35 shorts created between November 2014 and October 2015 that included Me Me Me, Hill Climb Girl, and Icon Friday by Day, just to name a few. The one that I wanted to focus on from this project is the 28th entry in this series, titled Endless Night. Endless Night is a 5-minute short film that highlights the journey of an unnamed ice skater. We follow them as they get their initial inspiration, practicing and putting in the effort, and eventually performing on the stage that they dreamed of. The main element that director Sayo Yamamoto was able to highlight was the fluid and precise movements in ice skating and capture it in animation. Even though this was one entry in a list of 35 shorts, this video led Sayo Yamamoto to create one of the most widely successful anime original series in 2016, Yuri on Ice. This was considered one of the best sports anime of the year and brought ice skating into the world of anime. On top of having one of the most popular anime of 2016, Sayo Yamamoto was also working on the opening of Persona 5 by Atlus. If you watch the opening again, you could clearly see choreography used in ice skating to help introduce the Phantom Thieves to the audience for the first time. So with successful examples of pilot episodes and shorts leading to series such as Deathparade, Littlewitchacademia, and Yuri on Ice, why aren't pilot episodes more common for anime originals? At the end of the day, the anime industry is a business. Just like the film industry, you have to spend money in order to make money. Many producers and studios may be more hesitant to fund a pilot episode for an anime if they don't know if it could turn into a full-length series in the future, gain enough of a fan base, or be popular enough to turn a profit. Majority of studios would much rather fold the hand rather than play to see the board. But that doesn't mean that animation directors aren't creating pilot episodes. It's more like they don't have the same spotlight as anime from bigger studios. There are many animation film festivals around the world where new directors and studios are constantly submitting their works. Although this may have a variety of animation styles and mediums, you never know if the next big series started off in the film festival circuit before being swooped up or licensed by a bigger studio. In terms of anime originals, there are producers like Yotsuke Toba and Takayuki Nagatani, who use their influence to bring together excellent teams to greenlight projects and bring them to life. Without producers who are constantly looking for new series, we wouldn't have classic shows like Cowboy Bebop, Code Geass, or Neon Genesis Evangelion, but also newer series such as Darling in the Franxx, Great Pretenders, and Lycoris Recoil, just to name a few. If I got to call the shots, I would love to see more anime pilots showcased to the public. Whether it's through broadcast television or a streaming service, airing anime pilots will not only gauge the interest in an upcoming series, but also show the talents of up-and-coming anime directors and studios. All it takes is an excellent story, concept, or art style that you want to showcase to the world, and maybe you can be the pioneer of the next big series. Thank you everyone who tuned in for this episode. It took a lot more research and planning for this one compared to the musical mess of manga video, so thank you for your patience. I'm hoping to take my time with a lot of these upcoming video concepts so I don't leave anything out and bring you the most complete version of the video as possible. If you want to check out some of the convention interview footage that we shoot, especially around cons in the San Francisco Bay Area, feel free to check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Links will be down below. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you guys for the next video. See you guys then.